My name is Jonathan Cantwell. I'm from Conquest in Yukon, Oklahoma, and today I have Professor Machado from Carlos Machado Academy in Carrollton, Texas. All right, so what got you started in Jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, there was a mixture of two things. My mom and dad, of course, and fate. I was born in the midst of a family, being cousins to the Gracies. I had quite a few cousins who were already ahead of me, and many of them became instrumental. They were instructors of mine. So, born in the right place at the right time, I guess, in the right family, made it happen.
Okay. And how long have you been training for?
Turned 57 last November. I started when I was 4, so let's calculate. 53, man! 53 years. My goodness.
That is a long time.
I know, man.
Wow.
Getting old. I'm getting old.
Wow. And so, what practitioners have and currently do inspire your game?
What current practitioners?
Or in the past?
Okay, so a lot of times, you try to follow role models. Like I remember when I was a blue belt, late great champion Holmes Gracie was somebody I admire so much because he was always outside the box. He was the first one to do wrestling. He did judo. He did a bunch of other activities to enhance his jiu-jitsu game. So I was like, man, he gave us an example to think outside the box. And then whenever I was in trouble, I always thought of a great Rickson Gracie. What would Rickson do in this situation? So I would try to, and it's funny because it's a mental exercise. Even if you don't replicate the technique or skills of the person you're thinking about, it keeps you more focused. You are less likely to mess up. And believe it or not, those two exercises, mental exercises, I think you're...
It's still recording.
Okay. Your two mental exercises, they kind of... It puts you on, your perspective straight and sharp, okay? I think too, if I could say, my brother Jean-Jacques has been a great inspiration to me because Jean-Jacques has always had incredible stamina, great speed, and always aggressive. There's a quote that he says that I never forgot. In one of the tournaments that he competed, said, "I don't care if I lose a match. I just want to make sure that once the match is over, the guy I went against never wants to fight me again." So that's a good philosophy from a competitive perspective. And I could elaborate many other greats. I think nowadays, the pool of new talent, I like not so much what they do on the mat, but I pay more attention what they do off the mats. You know what I'm saying? What kind of regimen they keep, what kind of routine, how diligent they are in building up their game, the way they eat, the way they do cross activities like their fitness programs. Because most guys nowadays, if they are to venture into jiu-jitsu from a competitive perspective, they have to play the rules book in a way that it gives them an edge. So I pay attention a lot what people do outside the mat, not just on the mat, if that summarizes everything.
Okay. So you said you're the oldest, right, out of all your brothers?
Believe it or not, I'm the oldest. I don't think, I hope I don't look the oldest, but I am. Probably I'm the best looking one. Yeah.
All right. So what is something that you would want every beginner to know?
It's a journey, make jiu-jitsu a lifestyle. It's not about winning or losing. It's about getting acquainted with the smaller stuff. A lot of times people want to go too fast, too soon. They always want big stuff. Look at it from a microscope, perspective. What's the small little thing I can do? Like if I learn how to do an X choke and I pull, is one thing. When I twist the lapel and then I pull, the results are completely different. So this is just like an analogy where a lot of times I go back to my white belt times and I try to remember whether I can go that far or not. What were the things I did in the past, even as a blue belt or whatever, that I felt today with the experience that I have today, if I was back then, I would tweak my game out, So a lot of times it's a good exercise. You revisit what you know and see based upon the information that you have now available, added to your experience on the mats and everything you've seen and tried, what more can you bring to the young Carlos Machado back in the old days when he couldn't do a choke against this guy with the big neck. And I remember I still have nightmares with that guy. I could never choke him, and if he exchanged chokes with me, he would always choke me before I choked him, even if I was the one who started first. So this little tweak about, twisting the wrists was something that was not taught to me exactly at the time I learned the choke, but it's something that's good today. It's a trivial thing I consider, because everybody I teach, every white belt, it goes right from the start. So focus on the smaller stuff. Always have a question, what can I do to get better? And it's not always what you can do, it's always what you do to mess up your opponent. So for instance, you go against somebody of a higher level, the guy's gonna get me eventually. I want to see how long it takes for him to get me, or how much I can make him tired before he gets me. So I make my goals more realistic, in terms of the small accomplishments I want to get. Oh, the guy got me. Yeah, but it took him 20 minutes.
Right.
If you're a white belt and you train with a blue belt, that's victory right there. Even if the guy has been smashing all day.
Absolutely.
So that kind of thing, more mindset, than anything.
Okay. Let's see here. So, how do you know if you are at a good school or a gym? And so, what specifically do you look for?
I think the environment is a good reference point right there. You can walk into the gym, the atmosphere is inviting. People are smiling at you. They greet you. Cooperation on the mat. If you're a newbie, and everybody else, it's kind of like baby step you into the mat, and then you go to other places where people just throw you into the lion's den, and you're eaten alive. And if you have the wits to survive and the grits to stay on, maybe you become a lion one day. But it's a painful experience for many people, and that can rub people the wrong way in the very beginning. From the instructor's perspective, I would love to see structure. If I have a question, I say, what is this about, and what does it take for me to go from here to there? What goals should I have? And then you have like a structure where you know where you're going, when you're gonna eventually advance. What's the outline? What's the layout? The landscape in front of you that you're gonna thread? Because it's a long journey. Jiu-jitsu is not like, compared to all the other martial arts, especially when it comes to advancing. It's a very subjective criteria, and some people, you see guys who are like forever white belts. They've been trained. I met different white belts. They're white belts for 7 years.
Wow.
I can't get it. I'm sure the guy loves the art, but it's good to have the validation and the acknowledgement of your effort at a point in time. I don't understand how the instructor wouldn't put that in place and give somebody, okay, I'm going to be a blue belt eventually if I go through this, and then a purple belt and so on. I mean, we can elaborate more, but definitely the environment, and secondly, the structure.
Okay. So you're saying when you say structure, do you also you include like a curriculum in that as well? Or
Yeah, if you don't have a curriculum, you don't have a business. I mean, you can play, you can just do for the fun of it. You can have a group of guys like-minded that get together on the mat and they roll. It's a lifestyle. It's the endorphin high. It's a friendly environment. I think people feel they belong to, informal and stuff. But I think you're gonna miss out on giving guidance to a lot more people that, given a structure, would stick around much longer. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you're gonna appeal to a much smaller crowd if you don't have structure.
Okay, makes sense. All right. Have you had any serious injuries?
No, I mean, you have the common things, like, for instance, I told you earlier before we started this, I had a couple hernia surgeries. I have to do another one. It's a minor stuff, and a lot of times when you do guard, if you do close guard and you keep your legs tight and the guy tries to push and stuff, creates tension. Different people might develop for different reasons. I think mine was because of that. I was trying to do close guard, and it came to a point where I insisted. But other than that, I mean, I pulled a muscle here and there. I feel pretty healthy. I can still roll comfortably with most guys and roll for a good amount of time and still enjoy doing it. So I think I have that motto, train smart and stay humble. Those are the two ingredients for longevity. You know what I'm saying? And it's not how hard you go, it's how far you aim to go. So I feel it's important to have a mindset from the start. I always go back to it.
So what else would you contribute to that? So just specific diet, or just training or not training, but stretching. I'm sorry.
Hands down, diet, supplementation, and hacks.
And what? I'm sorry, what?
Hacks. I have to do hacks. Yeah, I do. My hacks are red sauna. I have an infrared sauna. I do red light therapy, highly anti-inflammatory, keeps your joints going. I take probably 30 different supplements a day. you know, between collagen and multiminerals, vitamins, um, you know, and different things that all natural, of course, you know, that keep you off, you know, keep your immune system high, but more than anything, it replenishes. You know, any of you that do jiu-jitsu a lot of times are victim of cramps. That's lack of magnesium. That's lack of potassium and all that stuff. So having the right electrolytes, for instance, that's a lifesaver right there. And I didn't know about that until I started the carnivore diet in April of last year. Probably lost like what, 25 pounds, I think. I have a lot less pain in my body. It's non-anti-inflammatory. I know for some people they have mixed feelings, you know, because you know, vegetarian. I was a vegetarian at a point in time. I followed the Gracie diet, and still, I guess you have a spectrum. Half the people agree, half the people disagree, and you have to find your truth. I will never tell somebody to do something unless I try first and witness hands-on what it does
Leading by
on
example.
me, and then okay, now so I've done the carnivore long enough to tell that the effects have been tremendously positive. But we can say more on that, you know.
So what's red light therapy? I've never heard of that.
You have you know, just like different people use different things. There are several companies. I mean, they sponsor the UFC. A lot of teams, you know, hockey players, football players. I think the NFL is also sponsored by the same product that I use. We can talk about that at a different time in regards to the labels. But basically, you do exposure for 20 minutes once or twice a day. And you do front and back. You have to be bare. And they activate your mitochondria. That's the science behind it. So it fosters regeneration of your cells. Your recovery process, even testosterone increases, your sleep gets better. I mean, I feel, man, I can run. I couldn't run before. After a while, every time I run consistently, you know, you always have pain on your knees starts to wear out. I can run twice a day if I want. And I don't feel anything on my knees. I can run every day, 7 days a week. It never happened until I started the red light therapy. I mean, it was just, I mean, I could, maybe this sounds far-fetched for some of you. Maybe this could be also other factors that I incorporate on my lifestyle. But I think the red light therapy, you know, it's just a tremendous, it's a panel. You know, there's a science behind it.
So how long is like each session that you do it for?
20 minutes, 10 minutes front, 10 minutes back.
Okay, and that's is that every day? Or?
I do daily.
Daily?
You know, I skipped yesterday, by the way. I have to admit. But,
I'll edit that out for you.
But it becomes a habit. I wake up in the morning. First thing I do, brush my teeth, take a shower, get in front of the red light. My 20 minutes are up. I can actually, you know, check my messages, send my emails while I'm doing. You can do business while you're doing the red light. You know what I'm saying? And you have travel companion ones that you can fly and go with it. You're in a hotel, use it. I mean, hacks. You got to use those. You know what I'm saying?
So do you think it is imperative to compete?
Depends. You like competing? Is that what you want to do? I think for many people at a stage in life, or it could be a permanent thing, they need a higher motivation. They want to test themselves. I think competition is a healthy thing, you know, and I don't think it's the only thing. As you grow into jiu-jitsu, you're going to realize that there are several other factors that become relevant. You know, your day-to-day, you know, your interaction with other people, your level of relationships, the culture that you participate within the academy you belong to, and you know, but a lot of people, they like that adrenaline, that rush, that motivation. I think it's a great journey. I don't care how many times you compete, whether you win or lose, the whole process is worth the try. But I don't think, for instance, for a lot of people, let's say you have professionals, guys in their 40 plus, although nowadays you have the masters, you know, that allow people of older age brackets to get in and compete against other guys on the same age bracket. It makes more of a fair game for everybody. So you see a new dimension being opened where a lot of, 50, 60 years old, that you don't mess with those guys. You know, they're in great shape. So if this is what serves the purpose of keeping them going, keep them motivated, by all means, you should pursue it. Like my goal though, for instance, is whether I compete or not, I want to make sure that on the day-to-day, I always improve on the mat. If I'm training with the same guy repeatedly, I want to make sure that once he starts to mess up my game, I find ways to catch up with him and mess him up.
So, what what do you think like is a staple of like each belt? So like, what is a white belt? What makes a blue belt? What makes a purple, etc. Just all the way up to the top, in your opinion.
Okay.
And you can elaborate as much as you want to.
All right. So the way I look at that, because I talked about structure at a point in time, right? It takes what was the average right there? I'm trying to think here. I think it takes 18 months, usually, of consistent training for you to be eligible from white to blue. Some schools do faster. And then every 6 months, you are eligible for a stripe. Okay? And usually when you hit 4 stripes, your next color belt becomes available. So if I'm a white belt, 18 months, I can be a blue belt. If I'm performing the techniques, if I'm combining the techniques, if when I spar, I can execute the techniques. Then we follow the process. Every 6 months thereafter, you have a stripe. That's the dividing line of your progression. Realistically, not everybody's going to stick regularly to that time frame because life happens. Some people come, some people miss. But in the end of the day, you laid out the pathway from a structure perspective. The other part is mat time. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're a pilot and you ride a plane, you can be on the simulator all day. But when they let you actually ride a real plane with passengers, you're going to have a lot of flight hours with a flight instructor who's going to make sure that you have all the aspects of the game figured out, so you're not going to mess up in case you have to land or take off and you miss out pressing a button here and there. You know what I'm saying? Right. So jiu-jitsu has, because of the intricacy of the art, has that level of proficiency that only experience gives you. So you cannot be white to black belt watching videos. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be on the mat, try it out and try and error, and have other people give you input, whether openly or just rolling with you and trying to mess up your game. You know, but yeah, they say the average time frame for white to black is 7.5 to 8 years if the guy trains consistently. Most guys that I know, due to the lack of structure, takes 15 to 20 years to get a black belt sometimes, you know, or a decade plus. You know, so I feel structure is beneficial in more ways than one. You keep people more with the eyes on the target, so to speak.
So with that being said, do you feel like that, so since jiu-jitsu has been growing, you know, I would say at a much more rapid rate, you know, I mean, especially since, you know, from like when you first started, do you feel like more gyms have become like, do you feel like the higher colored belts, do you feel like maybe they've lost like their meaning a little bit? Like, do you feel like some gyms just pass belts out like candy?
Well, the thing about quality has to do with, to a certain degree, with structure as well, but it's kind of like what you're delivering. If you're promising something but you're delivering something else, it's kind of like you're gonna alter, you know, the product. So if you come to my gym, I have on paper everything sounds great. When you go on the mat, man, everything, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. You know, he wears a belt, but he doesn't know from A to Z, you know, any of the differences, you know, the nuances. He's not up to date. I feel when I look at the way I do things here, if I have other schools that are part of my group, my goal is that wherever happens on my mat happens the same way in every other mat, regardless of the rank of the person teaching. Okay, the information is passed along. Now, in terms of performance, I can't have a blue belt, you know, being as knowledgeable as a black belt. Just like I told you earlier, the mat time creates a dividing line. You know, but if you know how to train and you know how to focus, you can take leaps that until now were not available. You know what I'm saying? So you see a lot of people that become kind of like prodigies. They have little time in jiu-jitsu, and for like 18 months, all of a sudden they're becoming monsters. And when they go compete against other people, or even higher ranked, they become formidable opponents. And that's one of the beauties of the stage we're in, where information is more available. There are a lot more talent in terms of pool of instructors teaching, and a lot more people, like you said, practicing it. So it's unavoidable that the curve is going to go higher. But does it change the fact that when you talk about a guy delivering something that's not worth Yeah, it doesn't have to do with the art. It has to do with the person. You know what I'm saying? If done the right way with the right structure, I think that anybody could step up to the plate and wear those shoes, or becoming a good instructor and producing awesome students. My motto here is, I want to make the average above the average. See, whether my student is world champion or not, that's a question mark. But if he goes to any other gym, his level of expertise is going to compare or be above whoever else they interact with. That's the goal I rest on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Well, those are all the questions for the index cards, and so now we can just
Go free flow.
free
All
flow.
right, go ahead. It's up to you.
Okay. So you said earlier that you trained Chuck Norris. Who else have you trained? You know, that is pretty popular in
Okay, so
culture.
Texas has become a movie hub because Austin. A lot of people make productions here. You have shows, a lot of shows, quite a few. I have a couple of students of mine who became actors or they involved in the entertainment industry. Freddie Poole was a good friend of mine. He used to own a big school here in the Metroplex. He was a famous and very awesome kickboxer before he's one of my black belts as well. So he travels all over. He works in several shows, Prison Break, Dallas, the latest one I even forgot, Queen of the South. He's all over the place. He became a full-time, show business. Alain Moussi, my other black belt from Canada, he did several movies. He did a sequel to Kickboxer with Van Damme. Van Damme was actually on his show.
That's cool.
His latest one is called Jiu-jitsu. It's on stream. And then you have the big names like Chuck Norris, who is the one who brought me to Texas. Chuck Norris, met him in '88 in a seminar, and then in 1990 I moved to Los Angeles. I started to train with him. He helped me and my brothers open our first school. And when he came to Texas to film the show Walker, Texas Ranger in '92, for several years he invited me over. Man, you gotta come here. Texas is the place to be. All your brothers are in LA right now. You gotta build it up over here. So in '95, eventually took the offer, came here. Here I am until today. So Chuck Norris for sure. I did have a few moments with Keanu Reeves. I think it was on the second installment of his John Wick, not the first one, but the second one. Me and my brothers went there to a studio where he was training, doing the stunt, filming and choreography with a lot of the other stunt guys. And my brother was one of the trainers, and it was pretty nice get together. He was wearing a gi with the Machado name. He was very friendly with everybody. He actually practiced with me and all my brothers. So we had the 5 brothers right there. Each brother taught him a move. He was tired by the end, but I'm not the celebrity guy. Maynard Keenan, the lead singer for the group Tool, good guy, friend of mine. He's a purple belt in Jiu-jitsu. He might be brown now. I could be wrong. Forgive me, Maynard, if you hear that. Yeah, I think you deserve though. Don't sandbag on me, all right? But I'm good friends with Todd Fox, who is one of the guys that follows him along and keeps him safe. And Todd is a black belt under a student of my cousin Hickson Gracie. And in Jiu-Jitsu, small world. He came train at my gym. He liked it. Then he brought Keenan, and then from that point on, everybody has been. Every time he comes to town, we train together and this and that. And I always have the approach. I focus on the needs of whoever is on my mat. So you could be Chuck Norris. You could be, Keenan. You could be anybody. I just ask you, what are you working on? What would you like to focus on? What would you like to improve upon? It's a day-to-day, real life kind of question. I'm not like, starstruck or anything. I admire people's success. I went to his show and watched him. I participated in a lot of episodes on the Walker, Texas Ranger series. But the bottom line is, Jiu-Jitsu is my passion. So if I can help you on the mat, count on me, whoever you are. Big and small, I'll take them all.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty much it. Like my brother Higo, on the other hand, he lives in Beverly Hills. He has a line of A-list celebs that pop at his gym. Ashton Kutcher is a good friend of his. So many times I spent Christmas at his house. He has so many people that, if you really look at all the guys that walk in his gym, he was teaching Mel Gibson several times. I went to his house a couple of times. I became the dummy for Mel Gibson. He was teaching the class, and Mel Gibson was twisting me around, here and there. Super nice guy too. And then it goes, all those guys, man. Charlie, from Sons of Anarchy. He's a good friend of Higgin. Higgin has a bunch of brothers who are actors. But like I said, we'll serve anybody, whether you're a movie star or if you have no movie background. We're gonna make the experience worth every minute.
So, where are some of like your favorite places that you've gone and trained? Because obviously you've been across the world. So
Sure. I love going to Australia. I go to Australia every year to two of my favorite guys. I mean, I go to many places out there. Elvis Sinosic and Anthony Perosh. They've been my black belts for ages, and they have successful schools out there. And then I get to visit a bunch of other schools. It's an amazing experience. My brother's academy, every time I go to Higgin and Jean-Jacques Academy, I have a great time. But I'm so busy building my thing that once I moved to Dallas, I haven't been able. And most of the time, people will come to our schools. I'm not used to go to other people's schools here and there. You know what I'm saying? Not that I wouldn't mind, but nowadays with the whole situation going on, where people trying to stay a bit more focused or in their geographic area, so you don't travel too much and expose yourself too much until things kind of get back to normal, whatever you call it. I try to play low key because I want to make sure that I keep my herd happy and I'm healthy and strong, so I can keep up with the demand that I have at hand. So,
do you have like any other training in other martial arts aside from
I did quite a few years of judo, some wrestling, and I was actually thinking today. I'm brother-in-law with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. In the UFC. They have an amazing karate and kickboxing program out there in South Carolina. So I thought, man, I want to do some karate. I want to really get the footwork of karate. So that's something that I'm going to bug my father-in-law. I don't think I'm too old to move around a little bit. So I want to learn the basic kicks and footwork of karate. I'm intrigued by that. Did a bit of boxing and everything. So, nowadays, we all try to expand, our horizons, no matter where we are, just for the sake of reality and self-defense.
So you were saying when you walked in earlier that you just got to finish with the podcast.
No, I had a podcast with one of my black belts from Adelaide, Australia, great Tom Davey, and he has an amazing YouTube channel called The Grappling Academy, and he also runs a podcast. And so I've done a few. I had my own podcast, which I'm going to reactivate in the near future. There's some episodes, by the way, on Apple Store. If you look up Coffee Time with Carlos Machado, and it's based upon mindset and different things. Sometimes I talk about jiu-jitsu, sometimes I talk about life, but we had a good group of guys showing up.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my YouTube channel too, by the way, with a lot of 1-minute hacks. Carlos Machado, check it out. Carlos Machado YouTube channel.
Red light therapy.
Yeah, there you go. I haven't talked much about it, but I show more techniques. But we're gonna talk about the health and hacks too.
Have you ever tried like the Jocko, the joint warfare pills? Have you tried those?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Yeah,
because he has a whole line of products. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried so I'm about a week into taking them, and I've noticed a little bit of a difference. But my head coach at my gym, he's only been taking it for like a few days, and he's noticed like a significant difference. Just like
neuro for your brain, focus.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of stuff in it. I know it's got like turmeric, which is naturally anti-inflammatory. Has like sea cucumber, and just a bunch of other like really good stuff, and like super long names in there.
Yeah, I'll check it out. For sure. Smart pill? If there's a pill to make you smarter, man, I'm in.
You ever seen the movie Limitless?
Yeah. Oh, I love that movie.
Oh, I saw such a good movie.
And I also saw the TV series. I saw both. They have a TV series on that.
What? I didn't know that.
I think they had 2 seasons and that they kind of stopped. But man, Brad Cooper, he killed it, man. Yeah. I wish there was a pill like that without side effects. That would be great.
I'm sure it's like a jiu-jitsu pill you could take and you could end up like him.
Oh no, man! You're gonna talk about the Matrix. You're gonna develop a computer chip implanted in your brain. You're gonna know it all, like Neo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, boy.
That'll be awesome.
Oh man, there's something I was about to ask you. I don't remember what it was.
We got a little hiccup here, man.
Yep, definitely.
Jonathan forgot what to ask. He's making Master Machado wait. Shame on him. No joke. Catch your breath, man. Breathe.
I totally forgot what it was. It was in combination with what we were talking about, though.
Was that related to supplements? We're talking about Jocko. We're talking about me going to places.
Yeah. So so the places that you've gone to and trained, like, have you trained with any of those guys? Have you trained with like Jocko or like Joe Rogan?
I met Joe Rogan. Gordon Ryan came to my gym a few times. Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was sharing some techniques, so we interacted a little bit. You know, he was just showing me some of his headlocks and different things. Amazing information. I didn't interact directly on the mat with John Danaher. I've seen some of his footage and had hands-on talk with him. He's like a genius, a great, smart guy. You know, and he has his own way of doing things, which is very original, innovative. So I try to pick nowadays. You have so much information available. You try to hear, you know, what people are saying and doing, and I feel it's like you have gold nuggets everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just want to dig the gold, no matter where I can get it.
So, what's your thoughts on like grappling dummies and using them? Do you think that they're a pretty effective tool? Or not?
Somebody asked me that on my YouTube. I feel this, right? You're in the middle of nowhere in the desert. There's no training partner, but you have access to internet. You watch a stream, and you have the tutorials. These are the mobility training drills that you do against the dummy. That's gonna get your head more than if you're not doing it. So I would strongly recommend. I feel it keeps your body in tune with the movement. And I don't have a problem. I mean, most martial arts, if you see karate has katas, you know, boxing has shadow boxing, you know, so why wouldn't you have, if available, tools to enhance your motor skills, you know, by doing it? You know, if you have a punch bag, why not having a dummy?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I agree.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it, unless there's anything else you want.
All right, guys. So make sure you like me on my Carlos Machado fan page. If you want a book on mindset, I have a book on quotes on Amazon called Putting the Pieces Together by the one and only Carlos Machado. And you're going to see a lot of stuff that I wrote down there after going to the grit. You know, it's called Lessons I Wish I Knew Before I Got My Butt Kicked. You know, so it's, you know, just check it out. Anybody, if you are a rogue, meaning you don't have any family in the martial arts, you're by yourself, or if you're an orphan, you had an instructor that abandoned you, make sure you know touch bases with me. We have a worldwide organization called the Carlos Machado Jiu-jitsu Association, and I'll be more than glad to assist any of you. Like I said, with a grain of salt, I'm not asking anybody who's already happy, but if you're not happy, you know, let me help you if I can.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Professor Machado.
Take care,
Appreciate
Jonathan.
it.
My pleasure, man.